Okay, so we're going to go over, actually, we're going to go over exploring patterns, okay? So, there's a couple questions they've asked us, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at these questions. The very first one, we'll call number one, is rows. And they want us to discuss how the rows change, okay? So what did you guys discover about the rows?
I'm adding one more row each time.
Okay, so in the number one, how many rows do we have?
One.
Yeah, and in number two, we have?
Two.
In number three?
Three.
All right, good. We have three, and good. All right, so as we go up, how many rows do we add?
One more.
One more row. Now, each of those rows is much longer than the last one, but we're technically only adding one row. Okay, so we have that. The next question they asked us to talk about was number of small triangles, right? Small triangles. Okay, so let's go back up here. Number of small triangles. Well, let's make a little pattern here. How many small triangles are in the first one?
One.
Yeah, so we have one. How many small triangles in the next one?
Four.
That's right. How many small triangles in the next one?
Nine.
Yeah, that's right. And then how many small triangles in the next one?
16.
Let's see.
Yeah, 16.
16. Yeah, that makes sense. Good. Okay, so we're changing, right? The number of triangles in each is changing. The question is, what is it changing by? So what we're going to do is we're going to actually write those numbers down again. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Let's just erase that. Okay. Now, the numbers are changing each time. And let's take a look at how they're changing. So, we're going to write that pattern out. We had 1, and then what?
4.
And then?
9. 16.
Okay. Now, we could probably start to guess how this pattern is going to continue, but we got to get a feel for what's going on here. Okay? So, what's the difference between the very first one, and this is how I'm going to number them too, okay? So, technically, this was our first set, this was our second one, this was our third one, this is our fourth one, this would be our fifth, sixth, and seventh triangle. Okay, we're just going to keep those numbers in mind. Now, what are we changing by? What's going on here?
Oh, is it it's like you plus 3, then you plus 5 and plus 7.
Okay, so we're going up by 3, and then what?
5.
And then?
7.
Okay, so before we go anywhere, and I think in your heads you can figure out, what are these numbers changing by?
By 2.
By 2. That's very important, okay? So we can work backwards from that because we know they're changing by 2. This went up by 2, this went up by 2. So, with that same idea, what's our next one going to go up by?
By 2.
By 2, which means what's our next number going to change? From 7 to 9, which then, see how we're working down in a pyramid? What would 16 plus 9 be?
25.
That's right. Good. So let's continue this pattern. How much does this have to change by?
2.
Yep. Which gives us what number?
11.
That's right. Which gives us?
36.
Very good. And then let's do it one more time.
2.
2, which gives us?
13. 49. You have 99.
What is it?
49.
49. Excellent. Good job. Okay? Now, there's so many patterns we can pick out here. Okay, this was a really good job of figuring out the pattern to this. Let's just take a look at the greater page right now. Okay, so that's how our triangle was changing. We were counting them. Now, the reason I drew these at the bottom is because I wanted you guys to think about a little bit of multiplication. Okay? Have you guys done anything with squared yet? Yeah, power of 2?
Yeah.
Do you remember what it stands for? What does 1 to the power of 2 mean?
1 times 1,
Yeah,
2 times.
Yeah, so if I did 1 to the power of 2, what does that equal?
To 1.
Yeah, it just equals 1. And how many triangles do we have in the first one?
1.
What if I do 2 to the power of 2? What do I get?
4.
How many triangles did I have in that one?
4.
What about 3 to the power of 2?
9.
Yeah, 3 times 3 is.
9.
Continue that
And then
pattern.
4 times 4 to the power of
2
is
is
16.
Yeah.
5 to the power of 2 is 25.
Uh-huh.
6 to the power of 2 is 36.
Mhm.
7 to the power of 2 is 49.
Okay, so without even doing this, adding 2 and then going up by 15, it's going to be our 8th number, right? We know that's going to be 8th one.
Yeah.
How can I quickly figure out what it's going to be?
8 to the power of 2,
Which is what?
64.
That's right. That will be our next triangle in the pattern. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, what was the next question they had?
Number of yellow triangles.
Okay, so you can't see in this one, but we do have yellow. So I'm going to highlight quickly yellow triangles. The yellow triangles were the ones that were upside down, right? So that was a yellow triangle. That was a yellow triangle. That's yellow. Okay, so we'll try to answer this now. In the very first one, how many yellow triangles did we have?
None.
We didn't have any yellow triangles in the first one, right? So let's figure that out here. We have 0 yellow triangles. How many in the next one?
1.
And then?
3.
And then?
6.
6. Okay, so in our third here, talking about yellow triangles, or upside down triangles, let's see if we can try to figure out a pattern. Our pattern in that one is we got 0, 1, 3, 6, right?
Yeah.
So let's see if we can figure out the pattern throughout this. We're going to zoom in a little. Again, so we can jump down. Okay, so what are our differences in here?
It's plus 1,
Yeah, this one is.
2,
Then
3,
So what will the next one go up by?
by 4,
That's right, which will give us what number?
10.
That's right, good. So we'll end up with the number 10. Let's see if we can't get 2 more. Okay, now, before we talk about that, let's talk about what they're changing by. What are my the ones I've done in red? What are they changing by?
By 1 more each time.
1 each time, right? So it's a pretty simple pattern to realize. We'll do that like that. What will the next number in the pattern be?
15.
Okay, but what will it go up by?
Okay, 5.
Yeah, your right will be 15. And then from there,
We go up by 6.
uh-huh.
21.
Good. Very good. And that's excellent. So you guys have figured out the pattern. There's many ways to look at this, of how it's changing each time, right? Let's take a look at that again. So we figured out how many yellow ones. Number of green triangles. Well, again, you can't see it here, but I'll highlight it quickly. The green triangles are everything that's facing upwards, okay? Now, I'm going to have to zoom in because my hand isn't that steady. But these are our green triangles there. I wonder if I can just do this. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay, let's keep going. So while I'm doing this, let's talk out loud about how many green triangles there are in each of these. So in the very first one,
There are 1.
there's 1 green triangle. In our second one, what do we have?
We have 3.
Mm-hmm.
Then next one we have 6.
No. 10.
It's third one.
Oh,
And the third one.
Yeah, third one we have 6.
And then the last one.
we have
yeah.
10.
Okay. So I'm coloring these in much slower than expected. With that pattern, before we even start to write it out, do you know what the next one would be? How many there would be? Or do you see any similarities to this, to any of the other ones?
Oh, I think you have plus 2, then plus 3, then plus 4.
Let's take a look. So, very first one, how many green triangles?
1,
1. How many in the next one?
3,
And then?
6,
And then
10.
10. Now, I want to draw your attention to what our yellow ones were. Now, our yellow ones started at 0, right? But then it went to how many?
1.
So let's say we're at 1. How many did the next yellow one go to?
3.
3. And our next green one went to
2.
3. Our next yellow one went to,
6.
and our next green one went to.
6. So,
Okay. So, do you see how it's actually the same pattern? Now, here's the big question. What's the difference in this pattern here? So there, in this one, we're talking about green triangles. Okay. What was the difference here? We started with 1, then we went 3, 6, 10. What do we think our next one's going to be just by looking at our yellow pattern?
15.
Yeah, and then,
and 21.
okay. Now, what was the difference between our yellow and green triangles?
The green triangle didn't start off with a 0.
It didn't start off at 0. So it was 1 ahead. So it'll always be 1 ahead. So remember, we're going to write down which triangle that one represents. Technically, this would have been the first set, the second, the third, fourth, the fifth, the sixth, and the seventh triangle if we drawn that pattern out. Well, in this one, this would be our first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And if you notice, the numbers are just ahead. Oops, wrong one. Right? In our first one, we're already at 1 with the green. In their first one, they're at 0. But it is equivalent to their second. So we can continuously jump ahead a triangle or one in the pattern and figure out what the next yellow one would be by looking at the green ones there. Okay? Great. What else do we have?
Total number
Number
of
of squares.
triangles.
Triangles of
Oh.
all sizes.
Of different sizes?
Of
all
all
sizes.
sizes.
Now, this one's tough. Okay? So let's go through this one here. Okay. How many triangles in the first one?
1.
There is 1 triangle in the first one. Very good. So we put it out. Now, how many triangles in the second one?
4.
2, 3, 4. And what about this? A bigger triangle.
5.
5. Okay. So we actually have 5 in this one here. Okay. Now, this one again, tougher to look at. Let's count them out together. We have 1, and then
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
9, and then
10.
10 is the big one. But I'm going to show you a couple more. Ready? This guy here is 11.
11,
This guy here,
12,
12. And then this guy here gives us
13.
13. Okay? So we're now up to 13 in this one. Of total triangles. I know we have a bunch of random numbers written here. Alright, let's try this one. Clearly going to be a tough one again, right? Now what I want you guys to recognize is what we've done here is in the first one we have a small type of triangle. In the second one we have those small ones, and in fact we had 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we created a 4-piece triangle. In this guy here, we had the small ones. We had a lot of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We could have looked at the purple and told you that. And then we had 4-piece triangles. We actually had 3 of them. 1, 2, 3 4-piece triangles. And then we had this guy here, which is a 9-piece triangle. So in the next one, we're going to be looking for 1-piece triangles, 4-piece triangles, and 9-piece triangles. And then we'll still have the overriding 16-piece triangle. Okay, so we're going to keep that in mind. So let's quickly go through how many small ones we have here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15,
16. Okay, that was our purple. We knew there'd be 16. But now let's go through some 4-piece triangles.
1,
Okay, let's keep going from 16. 17.
18, 19,
Then we jump up 1.
20, 21, 22,
22. And then how many 9-piece triangles do we have? 23.
24,
4. And then this big one here.
25,
And then the overriding giant one would give us how many?
26.
26. Do you know what I mean by the overriding giant
Is
one?
it the whole?
The whole thing. So we have 26 here. Okay, now this is a very big changing pattern. So let's kind of go through total triangles. Total triangles. Okay, what did we start with? 1. Then we jumped up to
5.
yeah, I think that's right.
Then
Scroll up
13.
13 and then 26. 26. Now, quite a bit different from what we've been looking at. Oops. So I'm just going to erase that. Let's talk about our differences and see if we can't find a pattern through this. Okay? What is our first group changing by?
By 4.
Yep. And then what does this change by?
By 9. No, 8.
8. What does this change by?
By 12. 13. Oh, yeah, 13.
Change by 13. That's a tough pattern looking at it. It doesn't seem to really give us anything, right? So let's see if we can't look a little farther into it. What is this changing by?
By 4.
And then this one changes by
By 5.
5. Okay. This is starting to make a little more sense. Okay, let's drag it down a little farther. What are the blue guys changing by?
By 1 more.
By 1, right? Okay, so if they're changing by 1, let's try to work down this pyramid. It's going to probably change by how many? The blues.
6.
Yeah, the next number is going to be a change of 6, which will give us a red of
Of 19.
change of 19, which gives us an actual pyramid of 19 plus 26. Do you know what it's going to be?
45.
45. A huge, big change. Okay, let's work through that little pyramid we made again. The greens are changing by
1.
yeah, which means the next blue number is going to be
7.
okay, which means the next red number is going to be
26.
and then finally the total number of triangles in the pyramid is going to go up to
71.
71. Big changes. But see how we can constantly just break things into smaller and smaller changes to figure out what the pattern is going to be. So we continuously do that. We can figure out what this pattern is going to be as we go through this. Okay. What was that, the last one? And then the
Lengths of sides.
the lengths of the sides. Okay. One other thing we can look into. Let's look into the lengths of the sides. Okay. This length, we're just going to call it 1. We're going to say each of these lengths is 1. Okay? Well, how long does that make the second one on this side? 2, 2, 2. How long does that make this guy?
3.
How long does it make the next guy?
4.
How is this pattern changing?
By adding 1 more.
Just adding one. So how big will the next pyramid be in length sizes?
5.
And the next one?
7.
Very simple. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good.